Hi friends, so it's a video and an off week. Wild. PBS Digital Studios started this book tag around the Great American Read. They did this national survey of America's favorite books, and now you get to vote on the one that matters most to you. And that's what this tag is about. It's called the Who Am I book tag. It's about the books that sort of have made us who we are, and I'm participating because I guess like stories matter to me, I guess. But here's the catch. The questions are all written for fiction readers because this is like voting on our favorite fiction, right? But I was looking at all the books that I read in the past 2 years and they're like 90% nonfiction, mostly essays and memoirs, because like you could think of these videos as personal essays or like teeny tiny memoirs, right? I'm really concerned about how I tell my stories. So I like to study up on how other people tell their stories and what writing about the self can look like. So I'm just gonna try to do this tag with like nonfiction and memoir recommendations anyway. So let's go. If your life was a book genre, what would it be? You know, I've never really thought about that. What a weird question. What villain from a book do you identify with most? So the thing about memoir is nobody thinks that they're the villain, right? Like even with hindsight, some of the most unsympathetic characters get treated with a little bit more gentleness. So I'm really impressed by how people like Cheryl Strayed and Mary Carr can like write these stories about their really destructive behavior and how they hurt people, and you're still kind of rooting for them somehow. Or like Francesca Ramsey in her new book goes on this whole chapter about how she used to like drag up people's past mistakes and call them out on the internet all the time, and how that wasn't really helpful to anyone. I think I relate to that the most. Like I've definitely done some call outs that should have been call-ins, but I don't think that that makes any of us the villain. What protagonist are you most similar to? I'm gonna really flatter myself here and say Ellen Pao in her book Reset. She wrote about her experiences facing discrimination in the tech world, all the way through filing a discrimination lawsuit against her former employer and trying to kind of build an organization that would change that landscape for the future. And I really relate to her defiance in the face of being told what kind of success she could and couldn't achieve based on who she was, and finding all these roadblocks that didn't make any sense and people didn't even believe her that they were there. But I think the most powerful thing is that she wrote this book to try and tell the story on her own terms, but also to help other women and validate their experiences and help other businesses that want to do better. So at like a much smaller scale, I'm trying to use this like narrative that I'm making out of my own life to help other people understand their own experiences and be a little bit more compassionate and empathetic to the experiences of other people. Which book did you connect to in the past that you no longer do? Okay, fine, we're gonna talk about fiction for one question. In high school, I thought I was Holden Caulfield, like trying to buy a red hunting hat levels of Holden Caulfield. A whole ass essay written on the front and back cover. I thought I was just this like unique, rebellious, broody, like nobody really understood me, nobody really understood the world, but I could. I was really paying attention, and so I was different. And so I really identified with his character kind of being at this self-created margin of society. But I realize now that the way that he was dealing with his problems, the way that he thought he was the only person who really felt this and that nobody could relate to him, it isn't true. Like self-isolating is not a way to solve problems. It's not a way to connect to anybody. It's not a way to feel better. And perspective is a thing. What recent book did you read that you would like to be a character in? Okay, this is a weird question to answer with nonfiction because a character is like a real person, but I would be Cecile Richards and Make Trouble. Like, I would just really like to be that much of a badass. How do your reading habits show off your personality? They show that I am a self-centered, navel-gazing millennial. I think that's what this means. What book taught you something about yourself? I mean, I think that's every book I read, but one that stands out to me is the book Trainwreck by Sadie Doyle. She writes about our cultural tendency to just like live to see prominent women fail. So like your Lindsay Lohans, your Britney Spearses, all of the people that we want to speculate on and even celebrate their downfalls. So it's taught me to sort of notice when I participate in that and try to stop that behavior, but it's also taught me to not see my own failures in such a black and white lens. I have been through some messy things, but I am not myself a mess. So anyway, what I've learned from this tag is that books are very powerful tools to shape who we are and how we think of ourselves, but also that I need to read more fiction. So in the comments, tell me about a novel that really matters to you, that shaped who you are, that I should add to my reading list. And also check out the link to Great American Read in the description, learn a little bit more about it, and vote for your favorite book. I'll see you soon. Bye.